Today on 4Runner Automotive, I identify as an engine. Vroom. All right, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be discussing the engine that is going to be going into the 4Runner here. As you can see, there is no engine in here. This one came with a 22RE, which is just a 4-cylinder fuel injected. They are really reliable, but a little low on power. So ever since I bought this truck, I already had the plan of what engine I wanted to swap in it. And at the time, there wasn't that many that were really doing it. But now there are all kinds of kits doing it. There's a whole Facebook group forum. There's been other people on YouTube that have done them. So it's pretty established of how to do it. I mean, there's still things that you do need to figure out. There's not complete swap kits, meaning from intake down to exhaust. There's pretty much only the adapters and the bracketry to help mount it in. I still had to make my own engine mounts, which there might even be engine mounts now for this engine. I'm not quite sure, but exhaust will have to be figured out. Intake will have to be figured out. Fuel, all the routings and plumbing and all that stuff will still need to be figured out. But the adapter from the engine to the stock transmission, I have that. They make kits for that. All right, so what engine is going to be going into the truck? It is a TDI. So this is a Volkswagen turbo direct injection, so a diesel engine. This is the 1Z model. So this came out of my 96 Volkswagen Passat when it got a little too rusty to be roadworthy at that point. I've actually had this one pulled out of the car for a couple years now. This one has 300,000 miles on it, so it's a little up there, but it ran great when I removed it. As they always say, it ran when it was parked. This engine is about the same horsepower as the 22RE, but it has more torque. So it should be, I think it's like 90 horsepower and maybe like 130, 150 foot-pounds of torque because it's a diesel. This one is actually not going to be the one that is going into the truck. It was originally the one that was planned to be, but I stepped up to a slightly newer engine. I got an ALH in a combo deal. So I bought one engine and I got another one that was as a parts, but it had broken the timing belt, and these ones are interference engines. So if it breaks the timing belt, it will most likely screw up the heads, maybe depending on how it broke, like under what engine conditions, could mess up the pistons, bend the rod. So in the next video, when we discuss that engine, I will be going over checking to make sure that that engine is actually good. It's potentially that it could have a bent rod in it or something, since the timing belt did break. So that is something that we will be checking in the next episode, kind of going over that engine, making sure that it is viable for this for the swap. All right, discussing the swap a little bit more. So it's going to be a diesel engine with the stock 5-speed transmission, the W56, I believe. So I have an adapter from TD Conversions to go in there. So that will just be able to mount the engine to the transmission, and then it mounts the starter in the correct location, which is all on the same size as the intake. So there will be some clearancing issues that we might run into with the turbo, the starter, the exhaust. We will figure that stuff out when we get there. For the truck at the moment, the engine has been test fitted. As I said, I started this conversion way back in 2020. So I actually have mounted the engine in there to make sure that it does fit. I got the engine mounts all figured out, but I want to get this engine bay all cleaned up before finalizing the engine install. As you could probably see, there is some tape going on in here, so I'm working on getting the engine kind of cleaned up. I got some rust repair that I'm having to do. I'm not really going to go over that in a video. I'm not great at the rust repair. I'm still kind of learning my way around doing the welding. Welding rusty body panels really sucks. The metal is thin. You got to get all the rust cut out. It's easy to blow through. It's not fun. So I'm not really worried about filming any of that since I'm not a pro at it, but I will can show you the afterwards once I get it all done. But I'm having to repair some rust up there, some rust down there, and then I'll get this engine bay all painted and we'll be able to fit the engine in for the final time, hopefully. I'm still trying to figure out what color I want to paint it. I might just do the dark gray that it currently is. I'm also toying with just doing it black so it just kind of blends in with anything that we end up doing, because why I like this color that's on the truck, by the time we finish fixing everything on there, it's going to be multiple different colors. The front fenders are all rusty, so I'm going to replace those probably with some fiberglass ones that I've seen around. The rear panels are really rusty, so they're going to have to be cut out and fixed up or completely replaced. The doors, I think, are pretty good, and then the roof is really faded. I am going to have to probably pull out the glass to fix up some rust that's around the glass. So by the time we're done fixing everything on the truck, it's going to be all kinds of different colors or different stages of repair. So I think I might just kind of get it looking decent and then wrap it like I wrapped the Mustang. Obviously not the same color, but wrap it like I did on the Mustang, just because this is all fairly straight. I think it'll be pretty easy to wrap this truck. While it is a little bit older, so it has some things that aren't on newer vehicles, such as like the drip rails, which I could cut them off if I really wanted to, but it has like things on there that might make it a little bit hard to wrap, or might just paint them black to make them try to blend in with any color wrap that we end up doing. But I think wrapping the truck might be my best option going forward. Not huge into doing body work or painting myself, so if I do end up wanting to do paint instead, I'd probably try to take it somewhere. I don't really want to have to deal with painting and setting up a paint booth and all that kind of stuff. So that is kind of the plan for the truck at the moment, or for the engine side of things. There's also, we got suspension going on to the front. So I got aftermarket suspension for the truck. It does have a bumper, but I'm thinking about trying to make my own bumper. I want to do a slightly different design. While I like the ARB bumper that I had on there, there were some things that I did not like about it that I would like to kind of build my own. And it's just something that I want to further my skill in. Welding thicker stuff like that is much easier. I have welded up my own swing out tire carrier on the back, which is not on there right now, so I can't really show you, but I did weld up that, and I do really like that, but I think I might change that up to make my own rear bumper, which that was just built off of a tube bumper. I might do like a plate kind of rear bumper or something like that. But yeah, we got suspension, we got bumpers. I'm gonna do sliders on the truck. We got some stuff on the interior. The seats are in desperate need of replacing, and probably a bunch of other little things we find out there. But the main thing that we're going to jump into first is getting the engine bay all cleaned up so we can get that engine in. So the next videos coming up, we will be going kind of over the engine that is going to be going into this, making sure that it's good, and then going forward from there, getting it kind of built up and ready to swing in. And hopefully we will have it, you know, running in the next couple months or so. So you guys that are sticking around for Mustang content, don't worry, we got some autocross videos coming up that we just went out and did. The car build is going to be starting to progress here heavily coming into the off season. We got the engine that we're rebuilding, we got the front suspension that I'm working on, figuring all the geometry for that. So big stuff coming around along with the 4Runner build. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.